Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. This is the 5th video in our series of beating Pokemon Scarlet and Violet using only a single Pokemon, and in today's video we're going to be using Gengar. Before we go into the video, I want to apologise for the delay in the Cloth run. I've had some stuff going off in real life and some issues with the video, but it is going to be happening in November now. As it's October, we're obligated to do spooky season runs, and I've got 3 planned for this month, with this being the first. For our starter, we're going to pick Quaxley so that both Clavel and Nemona have super effective types against us for the final battle. Looking at Gengar's base stat total, we've got good special attack and speed and average all round in everything else. Our move pool by level up isn't very good, but the move pool through TMs is very diverse and overall fantastic. We beat the first Nemona battle and transfer our Ghastly in. After grabbing our Azurals on the way to Mesagoza, we meet up with Nemona at the gates and have another battle. We surprisingly beat the Fuecoco, considering that we couldn't beat Arven and his Squover as we had nothing to hit him with, and suffered a humiliating defeat after 6 minutes. Once we get to Nemona's terrestrializing Pokemon, we lose the battle, which allows us to progress the story, and we can go through the rest of the tutorial, beginning our adventure in freedom at 1 hour and 4 minutes. Our first gym leader is Katie, the bug type gym leader, and we are at level 25, freshly evolved into a Gengar after failing to beat her with Ghastly, unable to get past the Tarantula. We experienced for the first time in this game a Pokemon's disobedience, which was quite frustrating. But after we do finally manage to break through, we take the Nimble and the Tarantula down with a single Hex each. Katie then sends in her ace, Teddy Ursa. Thanks to its terrestrialization into a bug type, we can hit it with Hex, but it does manage to survive on a sliver of HP before hitting us with a Fury Cutter for very minimal damage. And the next turn, we finish it off with another Hex and the fight is won. From Katie, we go straight to Brassius, as I don't want to deal with any more disobedient shenanigans. And after doing the Sunflora collection, we enter the fight at level 25 with a time of 2 hours and 2 minutes. Brassius leaves Petlil, which falls to a Hex before sending in Smoliv. As it's part normal type, we can't use Hex, so we go for Payback, which does about half damage. Razor Leaf does next to no damage to us before another Payback finishes the Olive Pokemon off. Brassius sends in his ace Sudowoodo, which terrors to grass and survives a Hex on low HP, hitting us with Trailblaze. The boosted speed is not enough to outpace us, and we finish it off with a final Hex. As we're right next to it and it gives us the sprint ability, we go to beat Cloth next, at level 26 with a time of 2 hours and 9 minutes. The first phase of Cloth is over with a single Hex. Arven joins us for the second phase, bringing along his Shoulder. Hex does about half damage to the boosted Titan, rocking its Anger Shell ability, and it hits a Rock Tomb into Shoulder before Shoulder hits Water Gun. On the final turn, we still outspeed, and another Hex is enough to finish the job. I'm still a little concerned about Gengar not listening to us in the future if it over levels, so I decided to tackle Iono next. When the fight starts, we're at level 28 with a time of 2 hours and 28 minutes. Iono leaves Wattrel, which falls to Hex before Luxio comes in. We Terra Poison as it has dark moves that could do a lot of damage to us if we don't, but it also fell to a single Hex. Bellibolt is up next and Hex does half damage, and Bellibolt hits Spark, almost doing half to Gengar. We finish it off with another Hex. Iono's ace is Mismagius, which terrors to the Electric, and the Hex does about a third of the damage before we get hit with Confuse Ray. We don't hit ourselves and land another Hex before taking a Hex ourselves, leaving us on 16 HP. As we outspeed and don't hit ourselves on the final turn, we manage to beat Iono without any issues after Mismagius falls to a final Hex. Our next Titan is Bombardier, and we're at level 29 with a time of 2 hours 39 minutes. In the first phase, Bombardier resists our Hex, so it only does about a third damage before getting hit with a Rock Throw. Another Hex is almost enough to trigger phase 2 and we get hit by a Wing Attack. Our final Hex allows us to begin phase 2. In phase 2, Arven joins us with his Knackley, and I start this fight off by healing, as it's the only fight I allow healing in due to going straight into phase 2. Bombardier targets Knackley with a Wing Attack before Knackley uses Rock Polish. We only have Hex really to use, and it's doing about a third of Bombardier's HP. We take a Rock Throw which does very little damage, and again Knackley goes for Rock Polish. Another Hex and another Rock Polish before Bombardier hits Knackley with Rock Throw again. And on the final turn, Knackley hits a Rock Throw, leaving it in the red for Hex to finish off. Giacomo is our first team star base at level 33 with a time of 3 hours and 5 minutes, and we've had 2 resets against Kofu here at level 30 and 33, as I thought Thunderbolt, which we now have, would have been enough. Giacomo leads with Poniard, which does fall to a single Thunderbolt before his Starmobile comes in. It outspeeds us and hits Metal Sound as we go for Thunderbolt, doing good damage. On our next turn, we Terra to avoid the super effective Dark move I suspect is coming, and it hits Snarl, not doing much damage but lowering our special attack. Thunderbolt does less damage now because of it, and Snarl takes us to just above half health. Thunderbolt leaves them with very low HP, and they go for another Snarl again, but luckily our Thunderbolt still manages to finish the job off even at being -3 now. Orthworm, the Steel Titan, is our next target. We start the first phase at level 33 and a time of 3 hours and 25 minutes. Thunderbolt almost triggers phase 2 in a single turn before Orthworm misses an Iron Tail and another Thunderbolt sends them running. For phase 2, Arven is joining us once again, this time with a Toedscool. Thunderbolt does a lot of damage and Orthworm targets Toedscool with Headbutt before taking a Grass Knot in return, putting it below half HP. Another Thunderbolt just misses out on the KO before Orthworm sets up Sandstorm and gets killed off by Toedscool's Grass Knot. We're back over to Kofu now at level 36 with a time of 3 hours and 36 minutes. Kofu leaves Veluza, which falls to a single Hex. Wugtrio's up next, and we outspeed and it falls to a single Thunderbolt. Kofu's ace Pokemon is Crabominable, which terrors to Water type and takes a Thunderbolt on what looks like 1 HP, also getting paralysed before hitting us with Crabhammer, getting a crit and putting us into the red. We finish it off on the next turn with another Thunderbolt and grant us the Gym Badge. The Fire Team star leader Mela is our next target, and we've had 2 resets against her already, once at level 33 and once at level 39. We are now at level 41 with a time of 4 hours and 6 minutes. Mela leads Torkoal, setting up the Sun to boost the fire type damage. Unfortunately, it doesn't get to use it as it falls to a single Thunderbolt, leading to Mela's Starmobile. This one has speed boost, so even if we do outspeed it, it won't be for long. On the first turn, it already outspeeds us, using Blazing Talk for about a quarter of our HP, as Thunderbolt does around a third. Another Blazing Talk and Thunderbolt put us both very close to being knocked out. On the final turn, we just survived the Blazing Talk on 10 HP before knocking out the Starmobile and putting us halfway through our total badge collection. My favourite gym leader, Larry, is up next, and we did have a reset earlier against Larry in between the attempts on Mela due to getting put to sleep and it lasting forever. We're at level 41 with a time of 4 hours 18 minutes when we start the battle. We go for Substitute as Kamala likes to either yawn or Sucker Punch. We've also picked up the leftovers here, which we'll use in almost every battle from here on out to help with recovery. After Yawn fails, we go for a Thunderbolt as Kamala breaks our sub with Sucker Punch and we deal half damage. Another sub keeps us safe from Yawn, then Kamala breaks it again before falling to Thunderbolt. The Dunsparce comes out next, and not wanting to be paralysed, we set up another sub and avoid the glare. We go for a Focus Blast which takes out the Dunsparce, leaving only Larry's Ace Staraptor. And we've still got our sub up, so we know we're safe even if we miss and we go for another Focus Blast, which we do land, taking Staraptor out in one hit. Our 6th gym leader is Rhyme, the Ghost Specialist, and the only double battles in the base game. We have our trusty Azurill with us for Splash Gym, a time of 4 hours and 55 minutes, and we are at level 46. We start the battle off using our Terra so that we get the Omni boost on the next turn. We go for Dark Pulse into the Banette, which takes it out in one hit. Azurill goes for Splash, but it falls to Mimikyu's Slash before it gets the chance to use it. Rhyme then sends in Houndstone, which also falls to a Dark Pulse, and at this point Mimikyu goes for Slash, doing very little damage into us. Rhyme's ace is Toxtricity, which terrors to the Ghost and also falls to Dark Pulse as we take another Slash. We then break Mimikyu's disguise ability with Hex as we take another Slash, and on the final turn Mimikyu uses Shadow Sneak against us, which isn't enough to take us down and falls to Hex. Now that we have 6 badges, we can go and use bottle caps to improve Gengar's stats. Back to Team Star now with Atticus, the poison type leader, and we're at level 50 with a time of 5 hours and 9 minutes. Atticus leads Skuntank, which is poison dark, so we Terra to poison to avoid the extra damage from Sucker Punch, as a Thunderbolt takes it out. Revavroom is out next and we land Focus Blast, taking it out in a single hit. Muck is sent out and we Shadow Ball it, almost taking it out as it goes for Sludge Wave, which does very little damage to us. Thunderbolt finishes Muck off and leads to the Starmobile, which takes the Shadow Ball better than I thought it would, hitting us with Flame Charge, boosting its speed. It's now faster than us and it hits us with Spin Out, which doesn't do a lot and lowers its speed back down. Another Shadow Ball drops it to very low HP, allowing us to outspeed on the final turn, finishing it off with a Thunderbolt. Tulip's up next. We did have a reset against Tulip at level 51 due to just missing out on a KO and Floor just taking us out with Psychic as it's got good special defense. We're at level 52 now with a time of 5 hours and 31 minutes. And after having to endure the torture that is the challenge for this gym, we can get on with the gym battle. Tulip leads Fragorith, which Dark Pulse doesn't take out but causes a flinch, and we can finish it off on the next turn. Shadow Ball then takes out Gardevoir and a Sparfra in a single hit each, which leads to Tulip's ace Florges. Florges terrors to the Psychic type, taking a Shadow Ball well before hitting us with a Psychic, dropping us into the red. On the next turn, as we outspeed, Shadow Ball is all we need to finish this gym off. Next up is Great Tusk, and for phase 1 we hit it with a Psychic, which we picked up from Tulip. This sends it straight into phase 2. For phase 2, Arven's going to join us again, this time bringing Scavillain with him. Psychic hits for about 2/3 of damage as Great Tusk targets Scavillain with a Stomping Tantrum, before Scavillain retaliates with Scary Face, which lowers Great Tusk's speed. Another Psychic finishes off the Quaking Earth Titan, and we can move on to our next challenge. Ortega, the Fairy type Team Star leader, is up next at level 54 with a time of 6 hours and 11 minutes. We've had another reset against Grusha in between this and a bit of time spent farming candies in case we need more later. Ortega starts the fight off with Azumarill, and we Terra Poison and Terra Blast, taking it out in a single hit. We then do the same for Wigglytuff and Darkspawn before the Starmobile comes out. We Terra Blast into the Starmobile for massive damage before it goes for a Steel Roller, not doing enough to take us out. We outspeed, and on the next turn another Terra Blast KOs the Starmobile, granting us victory. Our final gym battle is against Grusha, the Ice-type trainer, at level 57 with a time of 6 hours and 23 minutes. Grusha leads with Frostmoth, which tanks the Shadow Ball and sets up the Tailwind before falling to another Shadow Ball. Beartic is next out, and we still outspeed even with the Tailwind set up, landing a Focus Blast to take it out. Grusha sends in the Titan next, and we take an Ice Spinner, because it's faster than us with Tailwind set up. Curse Body, our ability, disables it, but we miss the Focus Blast as the Tailwind ends. Now that we're faster again and hit Focus Blast, we takes the Titan out before taking any more damage, leading to Altaria, which is Grusha's ace Pokemon. It tears to ice and we go for Focus Blast, managing to hit once again and take it out. Our final Titans are Dondozo and Tatsugiri, and we are at level 58 with a time of 6 hours and 37 minutes. For phase 1 Dondozo, we hit Energy Ball and it goes swimming off. Phase 2, Arvin joins us, bringing Greedent with him this time, and an Energy Ball from Gengar does half as Dondozo goes for Aqua Tail, missing, and Greedent Tail Whips. Energy Ball is enough to finish it off and start the fight against Tatsugiri. Dazzling Gleam does about a quarter damage to Tatsugiri as it taunts Gengar and Greedent Tail Whips. Another Dazzling Gleam puts Tatsugiri below half as it goes for Icy Wind, doing little damage but lowering our speed. Greedent then goes for Takedown, and because of the damage from this, we are able to finish off Tatsugiri with one more Dazzling Gleam before it can attack again. Eri is our final team star leader, the fighting type leader, and we've had a reset here as I forgot Lucario had Dark Pulse. We've also used our earlier candies that we farmed and are now at level 65 with a time of 6 hours and 23 minutes. Eri leads Toxicroak, which has Sucker Punch doing a lot of damage to us, but a Psychic is enough to take it out, leading to Lucario, which we take out with a Shadow Ball. Annihilate also falls to a single Shadow Ball and Eri sends in Persimmon, which falls to Dazzling Gleam, leaving only the Starmobile. We outspeed, and Dazzling Gleam does over half before the Starmobile uses Shift Gear, giving it a boost to its speed and attack. On the final turn, we take a high horsepower, leaving us very low before Dazzling Gleam finishes off the Starmobile. We start the Elite Four against Rika. We've got a time of 7 hours and 10 minutes, and we're at level 65. We've had 2 resets against Rika. Once due to us not using Terra and underestimating Donphan's Earthquake, and once because Yorn put us to sleep and Dugtrio was able to finish us off. Rika leads Wishcash, which gets one hit KO'd by Energy Ball, leading to Donphan. We Terra because of Earthquake as Energy Ball brings it to Sturdy. Earthquake still does big damage to us before we finish the Donphan off, bringing in Camerupt. Shadow Ball just misses out on the KO as it goes for Yawn and we knock it out on the next turn. Rika then sends in Dugtrio as our Chesto Berry wakes us up and we KO with Energy Ball. Rika's ace is Clodsire, and turn 1 it protects as we go for Energy Ball. On the next turn, Energy Ball does big damage as we get hit with Toxic, and another Energy Ball finishes it off, giving us the first win against the first Elite Four member. We've had another reset here due to me forgetting that Copperaja has a ground type move and missing Focus Blast. Poppy leads Copperaja and we Terra, going for Focus Blast, landing it and getting the one hit KO. Corviknight is next and we almost get the knockout with Thunderbolt as they set up an iron defense. Thunderbolt then picks up the KO next turn. Bronzon's after that and a Shadow Ball dispatches of it with no problems, leading to Magnezone. As it has Sturdy, we just use Shadow Ball to damage it and it sets up Light Screen before another Shadow Ball takes it out. Poppy's ace Tinkaton is next and she tears it to steel as we go for Focus Blast, landing it for half HP because of the Light Screen set up before. And it goes for Gigaton Hammer, dropping us right down. Luckily, we managed to land a final Focus Blast and the fight is over. Larry is back with us, and this time he's a flying type trainer. He leads with Tropius and we go for Shadow Ball as Tropius sets up the sun. Even with the boost that Chlorophyll gives Tropius in the sun, we still outspeed and take it out with another Shadow Ball. Larry then sends in Staraptor and a Thunderbolt sends it right back, which leads us to Altaria. Dazzling Gleam doesn't quite do the job and a Flamethrower doesn't do too much damage to us before another Dazzling Gleam finishes the Altaria off. Oricorio is up next and Shadow Ball leaves it at 1 HP as Revelation Dance puts us below half before Shadow Ball knocks it out. Larry's ace Flamigo comes in, terrestrializes us to the flying type before getting outspared and one shot with a Thunderbolt. Hassel, the final member of the Elite Four, is a dragon user and we've had to reset against him due to his ace getting a crit and one shot in me. He leads with Noivern, which we outspeed, and Dazzling Gleam picks up the KO. Axorus is also killed by a single Dazzling Gleam, sending in Dragalge. We hit Shadow Ball before taking a Dragon Pulse and finish it off with another Shadow Ball. Flapple's up next, which falls to a Dazzling Gleam, leaving only Hassle's ace Baxcalibur. It terrors the dragon and we land at Hypnosis, and it stays asleep so that 2 Dazzling Gleams can finish it off, leading us to the champion battle. Champion Geeta time now, and we are at level 69 with a time of 7 hours and 37 minutes. Geeta leads with a Sparthra, which falls to a single Shadow Ball. Avalugg is next, and a Focus Blast lands and takes out the Iceberg. Against Kingambit, we took a bit of a risk by not using Terror, as if we missed the Focus Blast, it would have KO'd us, but we hit it and move on to Go-Go. Go-Go takes a Shadow Ball and uses Bulk Up, and as we outspeed, another Shadow Ball takes it out. Veluza comes out and dies to a Shadow Ball, leaving only the champion's ace, Glimora. Glimora terrors to the Rock type, so a Focus Blast is all we need for the KO, and we're now in the end game. We've had 2 resets against Arven, as Garganacl is bulkier than I expected, and it was also at this point I was made aware that we don't have a poison move still, as Gengar doesn't learn one naturally through level up. For Arven, we're at level 70 with a time of 7 hours and 44 minutes. Arven uses all of the Pokemon he previously used against the Titans, as well as his ace Mabostiff. He leads with Greedent, and we use Thunderbolt. Greedent does big damage with an Earthquake, but another Thunderbolt takes it out. Against Garganacl, we Terror and use Energy Ball. We don't quite take it out, but the incoming Earthquake isn't enough to kill us, so we can finish it off. Toedscruel survives the Shadow Ball and hits us with Power Whip, leaving us on 9 HP before going down. Scavillain is one shot with Shadow Ball, and Cloyster is taken out with a single Thunderbolt. Arven's final Pokemon, Mabostiff, terrors to Dark type and falls to a single Dazzling Gleam, and with that we've completed the Path of Legends. As the final fights are all in the same area, I chose to do Nemona first. We're at level 71 with a time of 7 hours and 56 minutes. Nemona leads with Lycanroc, which Energy Ball is enough to deal with. Next up is Orthworm, which Shadow Ball takes care of in one hit. Dunsparce is up next, and it survives the Sludge Bomb and does a lot of damage to us with Drill Run, before falling to another Sludge Bomb. Gormo is up next, which we outspeed and kill with Dazzling Gleam, before Goodra comes in. Goodra tanks the Dazzling Gleam and hits back with Dragon Pulse, before falling to another Dazzling Gleam. At this point we're on very low HP, and I'm worried about Torch Song, but I haven't used my Terror until now. For this reason, as Skeledirge comes in, we use Terror and go for Shadow Ball, as Nemona also terrors to the Fire type. We do a good amount of damage, and luckily I predicted right. Skeledirge goes for Shadow Ball into us, which can't hit now that we're a normal type. We take care of Skeledirge on the next turn. With Nemona now beat, we've completed the Path of Champions and only have to complete one more path before we can go to Area 0. Clavel stands as the roadblock to fight Cassiopeia, and we're at level 71 still, with a time of 8 hours and 4 minutes. Clavel leads with Oranguru, which we hit with a Dark Pulse, almost taken out as it uses Yawn, and we finish it off with another Dark Pulse. Gyarados comes in next as we fall asleep, and we stay asleep for 2 turns, taking an Earthquake and an Aqua Tail after we Terror, and a Thunderbolt knocks out Gyarados on a 3rd turn. Houndoom is next, and I'm a little bit worried that we're going to be outsped here, but we're not, and Sludge Bomb takes it out. Shadow Ball takes out Poltergeist in one hit, leaving only Clavel's ace Pokemon, Meowscarada. It terrors to grass, and a Sludge Bomb is more than enough for us to get the win. The final fight before Area 0 is the boss of Team Star Penny and her evolutions. We're at level 72 with a time of 8 hours and 11 minutes. Penny leads with Umbreon, we Terra and hit a Focus Blast as Umbreon goes for Dark Pulse. We then use Thunderbolt to finish off Umbreon before Flareon comes in. It goes for Baby Doll Eyes, lowering our attack stat as we hit Shadow Ball into it for big damage. Another Shadow Ball finishes Flareon off and Penny sends in Vaporeon. Thunderbolt does good damage to it and Hydro Pump hits back hard, but we're still above half. Another Thunderbolt gets rid of Vaporeon and Jolteon comes in. We outspeed Jolteon, taking it out with a Shadow Ball, and Leafeon is up next. Leafeon falls to a single Sludge Bomb, leaving only Penny's ace Sylveon. Sylveon terrors to Fairy type and the Sludge Bomb just misses out on the KO before Moonblast hits as below half. But as we're faster, we get the win with another Sludge Bomb and it's down to Area 0 that we go. After making our way through the depths of Area 0, we arrive at our final fight of the game with a time of 9 hours and 4 minutes at level 75. Sada leads with Slitherwing. He survives the Psychic and hits us with Lunge, doing practically no damage to us. On the next turn, Slitherwing is defeated. Root Bonnet is next and Sludge Bomb takes it down with no issues. Sandy Shocks is in after and we Terra, because we don't know how much a stab Earth Power will do and I wanted to play it safe. Hitting a Shadow Ball for half damage before Earth Power does enough that I'm sure that Terrain was the right play. We finish it off on the next turn with a Shadow Ball and then a Scream Tail comes in. It survives the Shadow Ball barely and hits Drain Punch, luckily not doing too much damage, and another turn gets the KO. Fluttermane is outspared and drops to a Shadow Ball, leaving only AI Sada's ace, Roaring Moon. We go for Dazzling Gleam, hoping that we're going to be faster, and luckily we are, and we take it down in one hit, beating the game using only a Gengar. As we reach the Battle of the Koraidons, I want to thank everyone who's made it this far into the video. Feel free to like and subscribe for more content, and also a shout out to Will for suggesting Gengar. After the credits have rolled, our total time was 9 hours and 26 minutes, with level 76 and 14 resets in total, making it our fastest time yet with a slightly higher level than Goldengo, and the most resets since we started keeping track of them. I'm not sure if I'm getting better at knowing the routes or we've just had good luck, because we're 1 hour and 6 minutes faster than the Goldengo run. The next video is going to be Litwick, Chandelure and then Trevenant this month. In November, I'll redo Cloth, and as always, I'm looking for suggestions on what to do after. So if you have any Pokemon you would like to see me do this challenge with, leave a comment in the video and let me know. Until next time, take care and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.